All right, let's jump right into this explainer because today we're exposing a very comfortable but honestly a very dangerous lie that you might actually be telling yourself right now. We all want to grow, right? We all want to build better lives and achieve our goals. But so many of us are falling into a hidden trap, and it's a trap built entirely out of good intentions. It's so comfortable because it actually feels like you're doing the right thing, which is exactly why it's so incredibly hard to spot. Today, we're zeroing in on the critical lessons from day 12 of our source material, and we're fundamentally shifting how we view our daily habits to break down that massive barrier between knowing what to do and actually doing it.
So here's a highly uncomfortable question for you. When you buy another book, or bookmark another tutorial, or save a massive thread of advice, are you actually making progress, or are you just feeding a habit? We live in an era of unlimited, on-demand information. It has literally never been easier to click save, watch a meticulously edited 30-minute breakdown, and feel this massive rush of accomplishment. But you have to ask yourself with brutal honesty today, did you actually move the needle on your personal goals, or did you just experience the temporary dopamine hit of consumption?
And this brilliantly captures the core trap we saw in day 12. Information without execution is literally just procrastination wearing a smarter disguise. See, knowledge feels exactly like progress, and that is precisely what makes hoarding it so dangerous. We hide behind endless research because action is inherently hard. Failure is a very real possibility out there in the world, and learning just feels incredibly safe in here. You can spend months preparing, highlighting pages, optimizing your workspace, learning every single framework imaginable. But until you execute, you're just procrastinating. You're just wearing a smarter disguise.
Because let's be real, reading about success without actually launching a product or taking a calculated risk, it's a complete illusion of productivity that keeps you completely stuck in neutral. The marketplace, the real world, does not reward what you know in your head. It strictly rewards what you create and put out there. Think about it. One honest, messy mistake out in the real world gives you vastly more practical experience than 100 perfect motivational videos ever could. The illusion of productive consumption begs you to keep preparing, but the reality of success, it demands that you start creating.
Motion versus true progress. Breaking the myth of being busy.
You know that total exhaustion you feel at the end of the day from clearing notifications, answering trivial emails, and frantically jumping between like 20 open browser tabs? Well, that's just motion. You feel like you ran a marathon, but the reality is you just ran it on a treadmill. You sweat a lot, but you didn't actually go anywhere. True progress requires the deep, focused work that most people desperately try to avoid. It requires shutting the door, turning off the phone, and facing the really difficult, complex tasks that actually push your life forward.
So why do we avoid that deep work? Well, it's simple. Our brains are biologically wired to avoid discomfort, which means your sudden instinct to keep preparing, or that sudden urge to just check one more email, is actually just your comfort zone begging you to stop pushing. Your mind naturally wants to conserve energy. But if you only ever do what feels easy and safe, you train your mind to become fragile. You have to deeply internalize that the urge to quit or seek a quick distraction isn't your actual limit. It is literally just the boundary line of your comfort zone.
You really have to train your mind like a master blacksmith forging a sword. A blacksmith doesn't just leave a block of steel sitting in a cool room expecting it to magically sharpen itself, right? It requires intense fire. The heat and pressure of actually trying, failing, feeling the sting of rejection, and facing uncomfortable decisions is the absolute only thing that will transform your raw potential into tangible reality. Every single time you actively choose to do the hard thing, to launch the imperfect product instead of passively reading another book about it, you are striking that hot steel. You're building real, undeniable strength.
Think like a producer, from passive consumption to active creation.
There's this massive divide in how people view the world. Consumers look at a successful business, maybe a crowded restaurant or a viral app, and they just see a product. They immediately ask, what can I buy? But producers look at that exact same business as a live classroom. They study exactly how that value is generated. They ask, how are they attracting these customers? What underlying problem are they actually solving? If you want to escape the learning trap, you have to stop looking at the world as a giant marketplace to buy from and start seeing it as a vast field of opportunities to build upon. And this ties right back into the trap of fake wealth we saw in day 5. Just like consuming endless information to artificially feel productive, spending money to look rich completely sacrifices your actual future freedom for a fleeting, momentary ego boost. Buying a luxury car you can barely afford just to turn heads on the street is the exact financial equivalent of reading a heavy business book just to feel smart at a dinner party. It's all appearances. True wealth is quiet. It's the money you intentionally do not spend, the invisible investments working tirelessly in the background, giving you the ultimate asset, which is the total freedom to control your own time.
Because the truth is, money simply follows value. The fastest path to genuine wealth isn't some secret hack to make a quick buck. It is actively creating more solutions than you consume. It's just an equation. If you step up and solve a big enough problem for enough people, the financial reward entirely takes care of itself. But you can never create that immense value if you remain stubbornly stuck in the endless, comfortable loop of preparation.
The power of focus, your ultimate mental weapon. When we look at the story of Hanumanji, we see the absolute stark contrast of true focus. A scattered, untrained mind is just chaos. It looks at a massive goal and it only sees the vast, uncrossable ocean, the towering, jagged mountains, and the terrifying demons waiting in the shadows. But absolute, unwavering focus literally shrinks every single obstacle in your path. When your core purpose is perfectly clear and your daily attention is completely unbroken, your inner determination simply becomes far larger than whatever happens to be standing in your way. Think of your daily attention like a drawn arrow. If you repeatedly let every single notification, every buzzing text message, and every new productivity hack violently pull your attention left and right, well, your energy is going to constantly misfire. You're never going to actually hit your target. Every single unnecessary interruption in your day literally steals a little bit of your long-term potential. You have to firmly stop changing the direction of your arrow. Because the greatest battle you face today isn't out in the physical world against your competitors. No, it is quietly taking place inside your own mind. It's the grueling daily fight for just 90 minutes of pure, uninterrupted concentration. And think about how incredibly rare that is today. If you can master the profound ability to sit quietly, completely ignore the digital noise, and direct all of your raw energy into one single meaningful task, you gain an almost unfair advantage in today's highly distracted world.
The discipline of action, embracing imperfect execution.
Look, you absolutely cannot rely on motivation because it is completely, fundamentally unpredictable. If you stubbornly wait until you feel like doing the hard, tedious work, I promise you'll be waiting forever. You must rely on discipline, which simply shows up to do the work regardless of the weather outside or the mood inside. Motivation is a fair-weather friend that abandons you the second things get difficult. But discipline, that's the true foundation of greatness because it builds self-trust. You prove to yourself day after difficult day that you are someone who actually keeps their promises.
Building any real skill or launching a business is exactly like the stonecutters process. It perfectly captures the brilliant truth of atomic habits. It's never the final dramatic 100th strike that magically splits the rock. It is the heavy, compounding weight of the 99 uncelebrated, incredibly boring, immensely difficult actions that came right before it. You have to be willing to strike the rock day after day when absolutely nothing seems to be happening on the surface. That quiet perseverance is where the transition from consumer to producer truly takes place.
All right, so here is your immediate practical challenge from this explainer. I want you to take one single useful idea you've learned recently, maybe even something from this very session. Stop researching it immediately. Stop endlessly organizing your color-coded notes. Execute it within the next 2 hours. Send that terrifying email you've been avoiding. Build the ugly, highly flawed first version of your website. Pick up the phone and make the offer you've been putting off. Accept right now that it won't be perfect, because perfection is a comfortable illusion, and messy, real-world progress is the only actual goal.
So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. Your mind is completely overflowing with knowledge right now. You've watched enough tutorials, you've read enough books, and you have prepared enough for a lifetime. Are you going to keep hoarding it safely inside your comfort zone, or are you finally going to step out of the shadows, embrace the inevitable friction, and build something real? The choice is entirely yours.